Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to this new episode of Sudan in Focus weekly news magazine, which focuses on Sudan news and events, aims to give the Sudan TV audience a broad and first-hand information about what is going on in Sudan. So let's go.
Sudan's El-Fasher has been described as a crime scene by the UN, said Chief Tom Fletcher, following its takeover by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF last month. Fletcher termed the Western Darfur region an absolute horror show and called for an end to deliberate attacks on civilians, emphasizing the need for justice for victims. The UN Human Rights Council has initiated an investigation into alleged atrocities in the area, which had already been under siege. The RSF denies targeting civilians, attributing incident to rogue elements, though evidence suggests mass killing. The situation has led to significant displacement, with over 100,000 people fleeing and many trapped without access to aid or health care.
President of the Transitional Sovereignty Council and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, called on all Sudanese to join the battle of dignity and honor. He said every person capable of bearing arms must step forward and join the battle to defeat this rebel militia and eliminate it wherever it exists. Addressing worshippers at Old Mosque in Al-Siraiha, Jazeera State, he highlighted the suffering endured by the Sudanese people as a result of the militia's violations against unarmed civilians. The ninth summit of heads of state and government of the Great Lakes region convened at the People's Palace in the Congolese capital, Kinshasa, with the participation of members of the Transitional Sovereignty Council and Assistant Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Engineer Ibrahim Jaber, who is leading Sudan's delegation. Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi delivered the opening address. He stressed that his priorities during the term include upholding the independence and development and economic integration and combating the illicit exploitation of regional resources and negative armed groups. President of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Felix Antoine, received member of the Transitional Sovereignty Council and Assistant Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Engineer Ibrahim Jaber, on the sidelines of his participation in the 9th Great Lakes Region Summit held in Kinshasa. Lieutenant General Jaber conveyed to the Congolese President the greetings of TSC President al-Burhan and the Sudanese government to the government and people of the Democratic Republic of Congo, expressing Sudan's appreciation for Kinshasa's supportive positions toward Sudan. Minister of Cabinet Affairs Dr. Lamia Abdel Ghaffar received the African Union AU envoy for the prevention of genocide, Mr. Adama Ding. During the meeting, Cabinet Minister briefed the EU envoy on the situation in Sudan in the light of the grave violations committed by the rebel Rapid Support militia against innocent civilians across several states, particularly the atrocities perpetrated in the city of Al-Fasher. For his part, the AU envoy explained that his visit comes amid the difficult circumstances Sudan is experiencing. He said that he has held a series of meetings with ministers and civil society organizations regarding the crimes and atrocities committed by the RSF militia in Al Fashir. Minister of Culture, Information and Tourism Khalid Al-Aisr inaugurated the first phase of the Public Authority of Radio and Television's new regional center in Port Sudan, accompanied by Red Sea Governor Lieutenant General Mustafa Muhammad Noor. Al-Aisr reaffirmed the minister's commitment to rehabilitating and constructing regional media centers across other states. He conveyed his appreciation to the President of the Transitional Sovereignty Council, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, for his substantial support to the Ministry's plan for his facility and its programs. He also thanked the Prime Minister, Professor Kamel Idris, TSC member and assistant to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Jaber, the TSC Secretary General Muhammad Al-Ghali, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Jibril Ibrahim, and the Red Sea State Governor, Lieutenant General Mustafa Muhammad Noor. Al-Aisr expressed the gratitude to the General Intelligence Services for its cooperation and recovery blended artifacts, noting the return of all archival materials documenting important stages of the country's history, as well as the retrieval of broadcasting equipment and vehicles. He announced new international approval for restoring several archaeological sites, pointing to the recent handover of restored Sawakin Governorate Heritage Building from Tika. For his part, the Red Sea Governor praised national television workers for their performance under exceptional circumstances, expressing pride in hosting Sudanese families affected by the war. The Director General of the Public Authority for Radio and Television, Ibrahim Al-Buzai, saluted the state's support for the national media throughout the battle of dignity.
Sudan has many islands located on the Red Sea, including Sudan Island, which is distinguished by its geographical location on the Sudanese Red Sea coast. Sawakin Island is a Sudanese island is overlooking the Red Sea with an area of 20 kilometers. Sawakin Island is located on the western coast of the Red Sea in eastern Sudan at latitude 19.5 degrees north, longitude 37.5 degrees east, and 66 meters above the sea. It's a coral island that tells the rich civilization. The area of Sawakin Island is 20 square kilometers and it contains more than 370 residential and governmental plots of land. Mukwar Island includes the Dungunab Natural Reserve. The National Reserve site is located in Dungunab Bay and Mukwar Island, 125 kilometers north of Port Sudan. The site includes highly diverse system of coral reefs, mangroves, grassy seabeds, beaches, and coral islands. The islands provides a natural environment for many of the rarest and most diverse types of tropical marine creatures, including seabirds, marine mammals, fish, sharks, turtle, and marine rays, in addition to a huge number of sea cow species. Mukwar Island, the largest Sudanese island on the Red Sea, along with many small uninhabited islands. In addition to the biodiversity and marine environments within the reserve, including a huge diversity of coral reefs base, marine plants, marine challenge, sandy and rocky beach. The reserve is also home to many endangered species, including sharks and huge numbers of rays and whales. There are many sharks in Sudanese waters, including sharks that are threatened with the extinction worldwide and are classified as endangered on the IUCN threatened list, where there are diverse formation of coral reefs and large group of fish, including sharks.
Dr. Khalda Zahir was born in the city of Omdurman, is the eldest daughter of an officer in Sudanese army, the commander of Sudanese division that fought in the 1948 Balanced War, and she received primary, middle and secondary education at the Union Higher School, which was called the mission at that time. Yoshet Creek girls taught her that her mother was keen to teach that since childhood. Also, she did not know how to read and write, but she was a lover of education, so she was keen to take care of her children's education. Khalda Zahir worked as a doctor in the Ministry of Health in the Khartoum Directorate and was included in the job Jobs Health in the Khartoum Director and was included. Also, she did not know how to read and write, but she was a lover of education, so she was keen to take care of her children's education. Dr. Khalda Zahir worked as a doctor in the Ministry of Health in the Khartoum Directorate and was included in the job corps until she reached the ranks of ministry and moved through her work at all regions of Sudan, calling for and spreading words of the health of children and women and the rights and contributing the issue of combating harmful habits and participate in many medical conferences outside the country. She was member of the Sudanese Community Part Assistant and worked as secretary and public activity and at the university and CO led the Student Union in the late 1940 and the early 1950. She led the famous Alumni Club demonstrations in 1946, urged the Legislative Assembly and was aggressive. Her political difficulty continued and after the exit of the colonizer, in addition to issues of the homeland citizen, women's liberation, defense of democracy, and rejection of the all form of dictatorships on of the situations and leader of Sudanese women movement. She formed with Fatima Talib Ismail the first women organization in Sudan, the Omdurman Girls Association, in 1946, one of top 10 who founded the Sudanese Women Union in 1952 and the estimate if presidencies in the 1950, such as Haja Kashif Badri and Fatma Ahmed Ibrahim and Nafisa Saeed and Aziza Makki, founding member of the Sudan Women Organization. participate in many local and international conferences in the most difficult circumstances, such as the Peace Conference of example. She has participated in many medical conferences abroad. Founding member of the Front Bodies formed during the October Revolution of 1964. The University of Khartoum awarded her honorary doctorate for 2001. She was honored by civil society organization in 2006 on the occasion of reaching the age of 80. Her own life, mother of 2 daughters and 2 sons, she memorized while still university student Osman Mahjoub, one of the founders of the leftist movement in Sudan. Mother of 2 daughters and 2 sons. Her first son, Dr. Hamid Osman Mahjoub, is an internist consultant England. Her second son, Dr. Khalid Osman Mahjoub, holds doctorate in science from the University of Cambridge and was professor at the University of Juba before joining the United Nations. Dr. Khalda Zahir relied on herself a lot, so she went to school at that time. And she loved reading and agriculture, and the late Sudanese found herself in challenge with the close society at that time. When her prodigal father also contented her to contributed the education. So she was eligible for then challenged by University College as the first Sudanese student to study at Kitchener Medical School. She graduated as the first Sudanese doctor in 1952, and this was an important and witness event in the history of the development of Sudanese women. She was able to get about the University College at a time when women was closely her highest point Sudanese women in the eyes of many. She often influenced its public house, splashes in British Czechoslovakia, and obtained diploma from England. This was an important and remarkable event, the eponymous step in the history of the development of Sudanese women. She spent the France's passive woman worked to raise money to hospital, which was run by Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad at that time. And then they were chosen as its racist female presidents, in addition to being able to enter Sudanese parliament. Finally, she was honored by Civil Society Organization 2006 on the occasion. Finally, she was honored by Civil Society Organization in 2006 on the occasion in reaching the age of 80. She died in June 2015 and was held in majestic procession in the city of Khartoum.